Hey, welcome back to the channel. It's just awesome that you're tuning in. So in this video I want to focus on the following question that I got many times. Which controllers can I use for my Pandora's box? I'm going to focus with this wicked quickie on the Pandora's Box DX simply because there are too many boxes out there and the result is basically it's not the same. You would expect that we're having all the same controller work on different boxes, but nope, that's not going to happen. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell, become one of the Wicked family because I have a lot of wicked quickies coming up. Alright, so let's talk about the controllers that we're going to get with the system, and sometimes you can buy them separately if you don't have a controller at all. So for the people new to this Pandora scene, don't forget to check out all of the reviews. I make one big gigantic playlist with all the information that you're going to need and that you want to have about the Pandora's box. But let's focus on the controllers and the original controls that we're going to get. So the first one is this weird looking thing. And I can tell you, it feels quite nice in the hands, but it is super cheap. I think this is the most horrible controls that I ever played that came from China. The D-pad, you cannot even call this thing a D-pad. 4 buttons is normally not really big of an issue for me, but this thing is so awful, it's just basically unplayable. The analog sticks feel super cheap. But yeah, that's what we're going to get. So if you can get a system with this thing, please avoid and run away. Oh yeah, you don't want to have this experience. Alright, so let's talk about the two wireless versions. You can buy these separately and I will leave a link in the description, you know where to find it. And I must say, it's not the quality like the original PlayStation 2, but this thing feels quite nice. The analog sticks feels a little bit different than, let's say, compared with the original one, but I played some time with it and even the D-pad is not bad at all. And as you can see, these are also 4 buttons, but when you want to do some fighting moves, it is not a big of an issue. So I think this is one of the best controls, and also a very good thing is that with having 2 controllers and 1 little dongle. And what is very convenient about it is that, as you can see, with the Pandora DX, we're having only 2 USB connections and 1 has been taken by the SanDisk storage device. And that is a little bit of a problem, because if you want to play together with your buddy, you need to use something different like a USB hub. So it's going to be one cable nightmare, but with the wireless version you don't have this issue. So that is why I really love these wireless versions for the Chinese Pandora box game systems. Okay, so if it comes to the UCOM controllers, these are very common, but there are 2 versions out there. As you can see, we're having the 2-player version and we're having the 1-player version. So when you're having the 1-player version and you're having a Pandora DX, you need to use the USB hub that I already shown you before. That is not convenient, but here comes the little catch. When you're using the UCOM version, the 2-player version, you can see we're having 2 controllers and we're having 1 USB cable. So that is really convenient and I think that is pretty damn awesome. Yeah, it's still wired, but as you can see it comes with a very long cable. The quality itself, the controller, again, same story with all of these controllers. They feel a little bit different like the wireless version. This UCOM 2-player controls feel a little bit more cheaper. Lightweighted, there's no rumble function in these things. So yeah, this is what you're going to get. Okay, so that brings us back to the Pandora Box DX, and I did some searching for you guys. What kind of controls can you use with the fake versions? So I grabbed in my big pile of controllers and I found some interesting things that were working. So we're having the PlayStation 3, 4, we even have this weird PlayStation 3 and we have an official Hori controller. Alright, so for this part I'm going to go to the monitor itself because I want to show you real life that it is working. But which one is working? Stay tuned and let's find out. Alright, so let's connect the Pandora box itself. I'm going to use this famous little switch so we can power it on. What I really hate about this thing that doesn't have a fan. So I need to check the LED inside if it's powered on. So let's talk about the first controller. This is the one that I found with the Action Store. I tried to find it on, let's say, an AliExpress website, but I don't know where to find it. Maybe in the future we'll leave a link in the description if I can find it. But what I really love about this controller, it plays very nice. And all the functionalities are including, you can request to enter the menu. And there's something that I did notice with some of these Pandora boxes that can be an issue when you're using a non-Chinese controller. Yeah, basically they're all over China, but you're getting the point. And what I really like about this controller is that because it's so good, the D-pad works fine, the analog stick works just fine. You can enjoy your fighting game, beat 'em up, with just a nice, comfortable controller. Alright, so let's go to the next controller. Alright, so for the next one we're having the Hori controller. It's basically in PlayStation 3. And what I did notice, also this version works on the Pandora Box DX. And that is pretty damn awesome that you can use this high quality Hori controller for your gaming experience. It doesn't help with my game, but nevertheless, I just want to do the super so you can see that it is very responsive. All the buttons are mapped correctly. The shoulder button doesn't do anything, or sorry, I mean the trigger buttons. But it is pretty damn awesome that we can use an official Hori controller on the Pandora Box DX. Where you can find it, I think it's the only thing you can find it because it's old. Maybe on eBay or something like that. Alright, so now we're going to use the Xbox 360 controller. And yes people, it seems to be working on the Pandora Box DX. I was totally surprised seeing this, simply because I did try this thing on many different systems like the Key or other very weird Pandora boxes, but none of those recognize my Xbox 360 controller. I'm using the original one, and I'm guessing that the fake versions will work because it's exactly the same kind of controller, just not of course from the official brand. But all the functionalities are here, and the same story goes when you're going into the menu. Everything works like a charm. So that is very pleased to see that a lot of good controllers were working on the Pandora DX. Finally, after all those time, we can find some good controllers, because that was a pretty big nightmare in my opinion. Alright, so what is also a very big surprise, I was trying this wired controller, a fake PlayStation 4 controller, and it seems to be this thing is also going to get recognized by the system. So if you're really a big fan of the PlayStation 4, it is possible to use this thing on the Pandora DX. All the functionalities are here. The share button and the select are basically the select and start. And this is what we're going to get. So I think it's pretty awesome that we can play with a fake PlayStation 4 controller, because these things are very cheap to get. The wireless versions are very cheap. I think these things will come around 20 bucks or something like that. Alright, so that you know it, the wired version, the fake version works. Yeah. Okay, so let's do a little bit of a wrap up, because I can understand if you think that it's pretty damn confusing with all of those controllers. So let's start with the first and the favorite one, which controller did work very well. So the Xbox 360 controller, I used the official version, but I'm thinking that the fake version will work just as well. Nevertheless, if you have the fake version tried it, let me know, leave it in the comments. But this thing works like a charm. I'm very pleased to see that one of my favorite controllers is working. Alright, so this is a very fake version for the action. I'll give you a quick, very close up so you can see how it looks. I couldn't find it on AliExpress. If I find it, I will leave a link in the description, because this is a very nice controller. Works like a charm. Works, by the way, with a lot of systems. Alright, for the people wondering, I did use the original controller. It's only charging. It doesn't get recognized by the system. And then we're having the Hori controllers. I have different versions of the Hori controller, and most of them are working. I just wanted to show you this version that works also like a charm. Maybe for one laying around, but it works with the Pandora Box DX. Okay, so for final, the fake PlayStation 4 controller. These are very cheap if you're going to get the wired edition. In other words, there is a wireless version. I don't know if this thing works, but I can tell you I did also try the original one, because some of you will think, hey, but did you try the original? Yep, I tried it and it doesn't work. It's only charging, again, like the PlayStation 3. So that's pretty weird, don't you think so? That the fake version over here, the blue, works like a charm. Very cool. But the original version doesn't work on the Pandora DX. So this is what the conclusion is. I hope you have a better idea. I will leave a link in the description of the controllers so you know where to find them. Thanks for watching. It's awesome that you're tuning in. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, become one of the Wicked family. And I will see you in the next video. And don't forget, if you have a question, you can always leave it in the comments. Thank you.